What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying life today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon two-door. Huge thank you to Erica Ramsey over at Koons, Tysons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram for allowing me to do this video for you guys today. If you are interested in this particular two-door Rubicon or any Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram product, then I'll be sure to have Erica's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. I feel like with the past 20 videos I've made, I've had to give a wind warning at the beginning of each one, and today is no different. It's just been windy recently, but just like usual, first I'm gonna talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon two-door, and this particular one has been painted in the optional $595 granite crystal metallic. I wanted to preface this video by saying for 2024, Jeep redesigned the front grille and it is slightly smaller than it has been in years prior. You also get a larger infotainment system, and Rubicons get a full floating rear axle. There are also a couple other minute changes like the Gorilla Glass windshield and the antenna integrated into the front windshield. But this being the Rubicon, we're going to start up here at the top of the hood because you get non-functional satin black hood vents both there and there. It just adds to the aggressive look of the Rubicon. And then you get these Rubicon outer hood decals with the red outline right here and obviously on the other side as well. But coming back to here, as standard with the Rubicon, you get LED headlights as well as LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, and LED fog lights. If you wanted automatic high beams, you might want to look into getting the optional $1,295 safety group. But taking a step to the left, here's a closer view of that updated front grille. So you do get a satin black front grille with the gray grille slots. You can see this is what I'm referring to as the grille slots. Obviously, this being a Jeep, you get the 7 slots. And then you also do get a body color grille surround. Coming back just a little bit more with the Rubicon, you may notice you do get red accenting, so you do get the red accent color tow hooks both here and here, as well as a satin black front bumper. With the Rubicon, you get 10.8 inches of ground clearance. You also get standard skid plates that protect your fuel tank, your transfer case, and your transmission. You also do get a locking Dana 44 front axle, and then coming on down the side, here is a front 3/4 shot of the two-door. I love the two-door more than the four-door. It just gives me those classic Jeep vibes that, you don't really see that much more of, on the streets. Most of them are four-door, so I definitely have a sweet spot in my heart for the two-door, and that is why I did a video with this one today. I saw it, and I was like, I got to do a video with it. But anyways, coming on down the side, you get these satin black fender flares. You also do get a performance suspension with the Rubicon. Here's a view of that. And then coming around to here, you get the red shocks. And then this one has been optioned with the $1,095 17-inch machined wheels with the black pockets. And these wheels are wrapped in 33-inch BF Goodrich all-terrain TAKO2 tires. I'll give you a view of the tread pattern on these tires here real quick. This one is actually a used example. It's got about 2,300 miles on it. So, after 2,300 miles, you guys can see the tread wear actually hasn't been too bad. And then here's a side profile shot. And then coming on down the side, you get a non-functional satin black fender vent right there. And then like I mentioned with the Rubicon, you get the red accenting with your trail rated badge and your Jeep lettering. And then coming to our side view mirrors, you get satin black side mirrors, and as standard, these side view mirrors are heated, manual folding, and power adjustable. If you did want blind spot monitoring, you would have to look into getting the $1,295 safety group. This one has not been optioned with that. But here is a side profile shot of the two-door. Again, I just love the way that this thing looks. It looks super classic, but also modern at the same time. This one's been optioned with the $1,495 black 3-piece hardtop. So you do get 2 Freedom tops up here, very easy to take off. This rear section here is a little bit more difficult to take off, but it is doable with 2 people or if you have a hoist in your garage. But the 2 Freedom tops are much easier to take off. By the way, this would come standard with a black soft top. However, if you are going to be daily driving this, I recommend the hard top because it does keep some of that highway noise, wind noise, and road noise out of the cabin. And then you also do get satin black door handles with keyless access as standard. And then this one being a used example, the previous owner did add these side steps here. These are not factory. But then also, because this is used, this is not referred to the fuel door, but you do get a satin black fuel door, and it's almost painted in like a bed liner type of material. It looks pretty rugged. But the previous owner also installed this, where normally with a Wrangler, this is open to the public. So I could literally theoretically come to here, twist this off, and take some gas from you. But this guy installed this, so you got to put your key in there and then you can take that off. So that's a nice little mod. If you're already a Jeep owner, you might want to look into getting. But here is a rear 3/4 shot of this thing. And then as standard with this, you do get LED taillights, and by this I mean the Rubicon. You also do get a full-size spare tire with your backup camera located at the center of the spare tire. You also do get keyless access back here, as well as your satin black door handle. So all the door handles on this as standard are keyless access, or have keyless access. Then opening this up, let's see. So I did a video with a Bronco the other day, and let's say you're in a tight parking situation. So this is as far as you can open up the tailgate. Can you open up the top piece? Nope, same thing on this. Let's see, how far do you have to open it up in order to get that top piece open? So you still got to open it up just a little bit more to about maybe like right here. So let's say you're in a tight parking situation, like a parking garage. Just keep in mind that you got to open up your tailgate rather, far in order to open up this upper glass. So just keep that in mind when looking at a Jeep. And then with these second row seats up, I'd say you probably get about 1.5 feet of storage space, maybe 2 feet, but more like 1.5 feet. However, you can fold these up. So if you push that forward, there is another thing that you can push forward, and then you get probably, now you get about 4 feet of storage space with those second row seats folded forwards. And then you get a 12-volt power outlet here on the driver's side of the trunk, as well as an LED light. Here are the standard carpeted floor mats that you get with this thing. And then this one, I think this is an amp. So here's a view of the amp. This does not come standard. So if you're looking at one that was stock, this would just be some storage space down here. And then you also get a spot you could set the bolts for the door hinges. Your jack is located underneath here, which I'll show you in a minute. You can also set your roof bolts there and your windshield bolts, so you can fold forward your windshield. And then if you push this or pull this open, anyways, your jack is located underneath here. I can't do it with just one hand, but anyways, your jack is right about there. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the trunk area. So with the 3-piece hardtop, you also do get a rear window defroster as well as a rear wiper. And then here's a little cool thing, little Easter egg. You guys can pause your screen and take a look at that. But closing that back up, obviously you have your third brake light at the top of your spare tire. And then finishing things off here at the back end, you get a satin black rear bumper. You get one red tow hook on the driver's side of the rear bumper. And then one thing, or a couple mechanical things that if you're looking at a two-door, I figured you may want to know. You do get now for 2024 a full floating Vienna M220 rear axle. Obviously the axle is locking back here. You also get a 4:10 rear axle ratio and a max tow capacity with the two-door of 2,000 pounds. Now, a couple other specs if you're going to be taking this thing off-road that you might want to know if you don't know already is that you do get a 44-degree approach angle, a 27.8-degree breakover angle, and a 37-degree departure angle. And that kind of about does it for the exterior of the two-door. So one thing I'm curious, let me know in the comments down below, do you prefer the two-door or the four-door? I can see four-door for practicality. I can see two-door for novelty. Let me know in the comments down below. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood reveals that 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6 that makes 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. This one's been mated to the optional $4,500 8-speed automatic transmission that can do 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. And if you were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 16 miles per gallon in the city, 20 miles per gallon on the highway for 18 miles per gallon combined with four-wheel drive. One thing I wanted to mention is that this does come standard with a 6-speed manual, which I think is really cool. And then there also is an optional 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder that you could look into getting. However, if you're going to keep it long-term, I think longevity-wise, the V6 is the better route. But if you're enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you're enjoying the video, if you've learned anything, please just take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. The likes and comments in particular look very good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm, and that is what helps me grow. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, as mentioned earlier in the video, you do get keyless access as standard. So all you have to do is have your key fob in your pocket, walk up to the vehicle, put your hand behind the door handle, and it will unlock. You can lock it right back up by pressing on that button there, and now it is locked. This is what the key fob looks like. And going over these standard functions, you have your unlock and your lock functions and your panic function. But this one has been optioned with the $1,995 convenience group, which gives you a remote start. And in order to remote start the vehicle, all you have to do is press this button twice and she will fire right up. And that is what it sounds like being fired up from the exterior's perspective. But this one being the Wrangler, obviously you do get the removable door panel. So with that in mind, the door panel is rather basic. It's mostly satin black. You get a padded armrest, you get your door handle, your side view mirror controls, as well as your unlock and your lock functions. And then at the bottom of the door panel, you get some of this mesh storage space. Just keep in mind what you set in here, because if you set a pen in here, the pen may very well fall through. But then this is what these front seats look like. Jeep actually, funny enough, calls these your black cloth seats. You also do have the option to get Napa leather if that is what you wanted to do, but this one not having that. You do get the red Rubicon stitched into the seat back. I also believe you get that with the Napa leather. These are also manually adjustable front seats, and those are your seat controls. But again, being optioned with the convenience group, you do get heated front seats as well as a heated steering wheel. But let's step on into the interior of this thing and see what this has to offer. So I'm going to close that door, and now I'm just going to walk you throughout all the controls here on the interior. So coming over to here, obviously you have your OPU handle, you have your HVAC vent, and your headlight control knob. So right now it's in headlights automatic. If I twist it all the way to the left, that is headlights off. One to the right, that is daytime running lights on. That is headlights on. All the way to the right is headlights in the automatic position, and then clicking this is going to turn your fog lights on or off. Just keep in mind that if you wanted to manually turn your fog lights on, like right now the headlights are in the automatic position and the headlights are not actually on, so when I click the fog light button, the fog lights are not doing anything. So if you wanted to manually turn them on, you'd either have to be in daytime running light mode or headlight always on mode in order to turn your fog lights on or off. Personally, I like to leave it in the automatic position. And then coming over to here, this is to brighten and or dim your gauge cluster, as well as turn on your dome lights. So if you wanted to turn on your dome lights here, you'd have to swipe all the way up, and then these lights down here come on, and then the dome lights also come on as well. Just swipe back just a little bit. You'll feel like a little resistance thing when it turns the lights on or off. And then coming to here, if you flip this down, that gives you access into your manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And what I mean by that is you can push the steering wheel away from you, you can bring the steering wheel towards you, and you can move it up and down. And then once you find your comfortable position, all you got to do is lock it right back into position. It's kind of like with two hands, it's not quite as easy to do. So, or with one hand, excuse me. But now let's take a listen to the turn signal. That is what the turn signal sounds like. And then zooming back out, you get a faux leather wrapped steering wheel with some red accent colored stitching on the inside of the steering wheel. And just like any other vehicle, you have your horn at the center. So let's take a listen to it. That is what the horn sounds like on the Wrangler. And then first things first, I wanted to go over the controls on the back side of the steering wheel. So if you come to the left-hand side of the steering wheel and you go around back, these are your tuning controls. And then if you wanted to go to volume up or down, you come to the right-hand side of the steering wheel, you come around back, and then these are your volume controls. And then coming back to our steering wheel, and on the left-hand side, you can see those 4 arrows as well as that OK button. All of those buttons are to control your 7-inch driver info center, which I'll get into here in a second. But this is to pick up on a phone call, speak to the vehicle, hang up on a phone call. And then coming to the right-hand side of the steering wheel, this one being optioned with the $4,500 8-speed automatic transmission gives you adaptive cruise control with stop and go. So these are your adaptive cruise control settings. Obviously, you have your windshield wiper control stock right here. So you can control your front windshield wipers, and when optioned with the black 3-piece hardtop, again, you do get that rear wiper, and this is to control the rear wiper, this piece right here. But now moving into our gauge cluster, on the left-hand side, you have your tachometer as well as your transfer case status stuff. You also have your speedometer. And then again, this is your 7-inch driver information center. Right now at the center, it's displaying your digital speedometer readout, transmission status stuff, and your odometer. And then on the left-hand side, you have your coolant temperature gauge. On the right-hand side, you have your fuel gauge. And to control this screen, you have these 4 arrows and that OK button. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click down once, and that's gonna bring me into my vehicle information center. So right now you can see I got my tire pressure stuff. If I click to the right, it's gonna bring me into my coolant temperature stuff, transmission temperature stuff, oil temperature stuff, oil pressure, oil life, and your battery voltage stuff. If I click down one more time, it's got your auto stop start stuff. One more time, click down, it brings you into your audio stuff. Then you have your stored messages and screen setup. So if I pressed OK right here, this is gonna bring me into my screen setup. So I can go into what I see up top there. So if I clicked on that, I can adjust that to my compass, my outside temperature, my time, range to empty, all of that kind of stuff. I like to leave it on nothing. Or you can adjust what you see in the upper left-hand section. So if I clicked on the upper left, you can adjust it to be your compass, outside temperature, time, range to empty, average economy, current economy, trip A distance, trip B distance, or none. You can do the same thing on the upper right-hand section. It gives you the same, things to choose from up there. And then you can go into defaults, current gear, etc., all of those different things. Personally, for me, I like to leave the digital speedometer readout at the center. That is personal preference. You do what you want. Up top here, you get a speaker, you get a little bit of storage space here and here, you get another speaker and an OPU panel for the front passenger. Now, this is what's new for 2024 to the Wranglers, and this is the 12.3-inch infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you have your different shortcut functions into your home screen, your media screen. You can go into your comfort stuff, which is basically your climate control here on the screen. Then you have your different phone stuff, your vehicle stuff. You can go into the vehicle dashboard, you can go into between the different controls or all of your different vehicle settings, and then all the way down here is your apps. So you got your favorites here, or you can click over and go into all of your different apps. But up top here, like I mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned this, but with the convenience package, you do get heated front seats, and then also included in that package, you get the heated steering wheel. So you can see the steering wheel and the heated seat here. If I clicked on that, not only can I adjust my temperature, but I can also turn the heated seats on. You get 3 levels of adjustability with the seats. And then you also get the button right here to turn your heated steering wheel on. See how I click that and that's lit up 3? Well, you also get a physical button down there for that. So watch when I'm clicking on the screen. Now it's going down to 2, going down to 1, and then none. Then you get to temperature, time, all of these other things that I don't really care to point out. And then you also have your heated seat on this side, as well as your temperature control. And then you can go into your vehicle stuff as mentioned. You can go into your dashboard, you can go into your off-road pages, so you can see the steering angle. It will let you know. It will let you know that the sway bar is connected, the front axle is unlocked, the transfer case is unlocked, and the rear axle is also unlocked. You can go into your accessory gauges. It gives you all of that, the coordinates. Then you can see your pitch and roll stuff here, as well as the altitude. So that is kind of about it for that. You know, obviously there are a bunch of other screens here, but this is easy to use. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I need to spend too much time explaining all of the different things on here, because if you spend, 20 minutes, you're gonna get this down like the back of your hand. So anyways, coming down just a little bit more, you get 2 HVAC vents. This is a little different from the 2023 model year in that these HVAC vents are rectangle rather than square, or excuse me, rather than circular. And then you get your push button start button there, all of your physical controls, volume control, fan speed control, tuning control. Again, with the convenience package, you get heated front seats with 3 levels of adjustability. You also get a heated steering wheel with that package as well. This is your climate control stack. You do get dual zone automatic climate control as standard. Then you get your mute button. This is to turn the auto stop start system on or off. This is to turn traction control on or off. Obviously you have your hazard button. And then with the Wrangler, you have this button right here, and if you click on that, that is for your select speed control. By the way, you get select speed control with the $4,500 8-speed automatic transmission. You can think of select speed control as an off-road cruise control. So you can set the speed and it's going to bring you up a hill in that speed, and then if you start going down a hill, it's going to remain that same speed going down a hill. So it's pretty cool. And then this is to turn the screen off. Touch anywhere on the screen and it will turn back on. Coming down a little bit more, you get a 12-volt power outlet. You get automatic down windows, but they are not automatic up. Then you get some media, a USB-A port, a USB-C port, and an auxiliary jack. With the Rubicon, you get all of these different controls down here. So like mentioned on the exterior part of the video, you do get an electronic locking front and rear axle. And if you wanted to lock both, you'd flip up And if you wanted to lock just the rear, you would flip down, and then that's going to lock the rear only. If you wanted to unlock both of them, you'd press on that button right there, and the axles will lock. Then you have your off-road plus mode. So if you click on that, it's only available in 4-wheel drive. And then this with the Rubicon, you get sway bar disconnect. So if you press that right there, the sway bar will disconnect, but you do have to be in 4-wheel drive, either high or low, in order to disengage or disconnect the sway bar. And then you also get these 4 auxiliary switches. So let's say you have 4 light bars mounted on the exterior of this vehicle. You can turn them on individually with these auxiliary switches. So I think that is pretty cool. Then also what I think is pretty cool is that you get a manual transfer case thing. So if you wanted to go into 4-wheel, you actually have to pull hard back in order to go into 4-wheel high, or pull hard back and down in order to go to true neutral. So I think that's cool, and I think that is something that, you know, is good for the long term, rather than a button where the vehicle will electronically put you into 4 high or 4 low. I think that's just another thing to break. So this is nice to see that it is physical. And then again, with the 8-speed, you do get a manual shift mode. So if you come over to here into drive and you flip to the left, now when I push up, that's to downshift. If I pull down, that is to upshift. And that is that. You also get a manual parking brake here. You get 2 cup holders, a spot you could set a phone, or you could set your phone likewise this way. You get a nicely padded armrest here, and then if you open this thing up, you get a little bit of storage space. You could set some business cards or something of that size in there. And then if you open it up all the way, you get a light. You also get a USB-A port and quite a bit of storage space down in there. By the way, this is lockable. You stick your key in right there and you can lock this area, as well as you also get a lockable glove box. However, the glove box really isn't all that big, and this glove box in the Wrangler, in all Wranglers, is smaller than what you would find in the Ford Broncos. Closing that back up, you get some accent colored stitching. You get an OPU panel to grab onto here, another OPU panel to grab onto there. You get a standard rear view mirror here. Coming up to here, you get your assist stuff, SOS stuff, and it also lets you know if your passenger airbag is on or off up there. Coming over to here with the convenience group, you do get the universal garage door opener. So if you own a house with 3 garage bays, you can open up them individually. And then opening this up, you get a vanity mirror with 2 vanity lights, and then this visor will slide forwards and backwards depending on where the sun is shining. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in these front seats. Now, when it comes to seat comfort, these seats are on the firmer side of things. I'm not saying that they're uncomfortable. I'm just saying that they are on the firmer side, but they are still comfortable, at least in my personal opinion. One package you might want to look into getting is the technology package, because it gives you built-in navigation. It gives you a forward-facing camera. It also gives you a Wi-Fi hotspot and everything else you can read on screen. But now I'm just going to throw the entire window sticker on screen, and you can take a look at the couple options that this vehicle has, everything that you get as standard, but I am just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2024 Wrangler Rubicon 2-door is spec'd is $55,870. I know that is a lot of money. This one has 2,379 miles. It's probably gonna have, you know, 2,390 by the time I'm done with it. And they are selling this one for, I think, 47-ish. Don't know the exact price, but I do know it's in 47 area. So yeah, you can pick up a used one for a sweet deal. And they also take a little bit off MSRP when looking at these. But I do want to show you what we got going on in the rear seats before getting into the driving portion of the video. So the rear seats are kind of a pain to get into, but really not all that much. All you gotta do is slide that seat forward, step on into these rear seats, and let's see what we got going on here in the back. So sitting behind the driver's seat, you get a seat back pocket. If I close this, I mean, I would probably not have very much legroom, to be honest with you, if I had my seat in my position where it would normally be. But back here, you do get 2 HVAC vents, and then coming down just a little bit more, you get these USB ports. You get 2 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, and a 115-volt household power outlet. You also get 2 cup holders down there, and then one thing that's interesting is that it says you have your window controls here, but this being a 2-door, you don't get windows in the back. So that's interesting. It's like they use the same center console that they use in 4-doors here for the 2-doors. You also get a seat back pocket behind the passenger seat. Your speakers are also up here. You get your light, your light. All you gotta do is click on them, and that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in these rear seats. So one of my distant relatives had a two-door Wrangler when I was younger, and that's kind of, you know, I used to go for rides in it, and, you know, it was just kind of cool back in the day to be able to go out and have the top off and ride around with the doors off, and it was a manual, so it was really cool. So that's why I think I got a little bit of a sweet spot for these. But, you know, we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive. I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I'll see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, now on to the driving portion. Take a listen. So obviously this thing drives like a Jeep, but one thing about a Jeep is that they actually like handle well. Like there's not really that much body roll when going around a turn. However, there is a little bit of bounce. Like when you're driving this thing down the street, it's very vague in its steering, and I think that has to do with the solid front axle. So you're kind of constantly having to like go back and forth and back and forth. But that's just a, you know, kind of a part of the Wrangler charm. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is, driving like one of these things. And I think that's kind of cool at the same time. You know, when it comes to refinement, the Bronco is definitely more refined than the Wranglers are. However, when it comes to off-road capability, you know, you can't beat a Wrangler. The Wrangler is just definitely more capable than a Bronco, and that is due to the solid front axle. It just gives it that more capability off-road. And so if you're looking for a straight off-roader that you can also drive on-road, well, that is the Wrangler. Now, obviously, like I said, the Bronco's going to do better on-road, but the Jeep just has like that classic feel. It still has that classic feel, especially if you get it with the manual transmission. Here's another little acceleration. So not the fastest, but it's not slow at the same time. And if you're getting one of these, I really don't think that you care about how fast a Jeep Wrangler is. You know what I mean? It's more about the experience. It's more about taking the doors off, taking the top off. You know, that's really where you build your memories, is, you know, doing that kind of stuff with your family or your friends, or even yourself and your dog. You know what I mean? You take your doors off, you take your top off, and it's just a fun experience just doing that kind of stuff, just driving around town. And that's what's so cool about Jeeps. And then also, if you're driving around town and you get a little itch to go off-roading, you can do that at the same time, and you don't have to go home and get another vehicle, because this is all in one. Here. The transmission, the 8-speed transmission, is awesome. That was something I was talking to somebody the other day, is like, you know, GM and Ford co-developed the 10-speed, and it's good, but then every now and again it does just such a clunky shift. I'm referring to the 10-speed that you get in like the Bronco, the F-150, the Silverados, all the Yukons. They can be clunky, whereas you don't really feel that with the 8-speed automatic. But here I'm going to do a floored acceleration. Do you see how fast the transmission shifts for this thing being a Wrangler? I think that's hilarious, but also awesome at the same time. Now, take a listen to what this thing sounds like cruising at about 70 miles an hour. Or 65. It is kind of a windy day, and I'm actually kind of surprised at how quiet it feels here on the interior right now, because normally they're a little bit louder, and this is actually not too bad, you know, considering, you know what I mean? Like, pretty much this whole vehicle is removable with the doors, the windshield, the top. So, you know, you kind of got to give the Wrangler some credit when it comes to, you know, being able to remove all these body panels. And yes, it's not the most quiet thing here on the interior, but it's really, oh my goodness, this guy's not paying attention. It's really not that bad, all things considered, in my personal opinion. And also, it drove pretty decent down the highway, whereas sometimes I notice that it can be a little sporadic. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's the word I'm going with. But this one actually hasn't been too bad. And I if I was gonna get a Wrangler, I would get a two-door. And the reason is it's just classic Jeep. It looks cooler, I think, than a four-door. It's more capable than a four-door because the wheelbase is shorter, so you can go you know, over different types of rocks, whereas, you know, the wheelbase being longer, with the four-door, the breakover angle is not quite as good. I'm gonna go all the way, but if you got kids and you want a Wrangler, then obviously, you know, the four-door is the way to go, because that's how you're gonna convince your wife to get you one of these, or to get one of these, and vice versa. But overall, you know, it's a fun vehicle to drive. It's got the experience. It's not the most quick thing in the world. If you see another Wrangler on the road, like we got one right there, you guys wave to each other. You know, that's the thing that you see on the window sticker. It's like the 50 state cheat wave is what it says on the window sticker. So that's just, you know, part of the Wrangler experience. You wave, you take the doors off, you go off-roading, or you just drive this thing around town with everything off. You know, it's got that kind of experience. The sound system's also pretty decent for just being the standard sound system. You know, I do kind of wish the volume was a little bit louder, because I could foresee, you know, if you're cruising down the highway, you get a bunch of wind noise. Maybe it's not as loud as you would like it to be, but also I haven't ever driven one of these with the doors off going 60 miles an hour, so it could be loud enough. I just don't know. I've never experienced it, so I can't speak from personal what's the word I'm looking for, experience. But I mean, fun vehicle. It rides like a Jeep, and if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But that's the charm to the Wrangler. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything from the video, please just take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. That helps me grow my channel and helps me achieve my dreams. So I'd appreciate it if you do those 3 things, but only if you enjoyed the video. But again, that's it for today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.